There comes a time during midlife crisis where you want to reflect on your life. You're like, what have I done with myself? And maybe people in their 20s probably go through this also, but not to the extent as those in midlife. I don't even know what midlife is. I thought I was midlife in my 30s. I'm now in my 40s and I feel like I'm midlife. I can see people in their 50s that think they're in midlife. And I see people in their 60s that are definitely beyond midlife. And I think that's a generational thing. I really do hope that we have newer generations redefining what it means to be older, to be 45, 55, 65. Getting older has been one of those lies mixed in the facade of what it means to be old, what it means to retire, what it means to have decades of the effect of gravity on the body, what it means to have decades of experiences and wisdom that only comes from experience. Midlife is a gift. It's a gift of reflection. It's a gift of renewal going forward. It's a gift of being able to either appreciate or condemn the journey that we've had so far. And I want to back up on that sentence. To appreciate or condemn the life that we've had so far. Raise your hand if you've needed a pep talk from someone of, what have I done with my life? I'm nothing great, blah, blah, blah. And you've needed a pep talk of someone saying, oh, well, you've done this and you've done that and you've done this and this and that. I know I have. And it's addicting at some point, because when you get so low in self-esteem and you don't see your worth and you're constantly reaching out for others to reflect your worth, that itself is its own negative feedback loop. And I'm bringing this up because I've noticed that when I have these pep talks with others, a lot of the things that they say are things that I didn't create intentionally. They are things that landed in my path through the following of faith and intuition, of trusting the universe and trusting God, following that inner voice, making choices that I felt like I probably shouldn't be making, but something inside says, yep, this is the choice that you're making. So I want to take a moment to appreciate the accidental achievements in our lives. And pausing for a moment, this channel is called Awaken with Deb. I'm Deborah Kaye, and here on this channel, we awaken to the awareness of who we are, the expansion that is the realness of life, and how to accept and love ourselves. Those are the key points. Nature is always expanding. We are nature. I do feel like our whole existence has been an entire lie of programming and deceit. And I'm not mad about it. I have spent years being mad about it. I have spent years being hateful and angry and vengeful about it. And now it's a moment of, this is Earth. Anything that can happen will happen, and anything that wants to exist will exist. It just needs a human to create it in its brain and imagination to appear in that person's bubble. And we seem to have technology available to us that we can get glimpses into other people's bubbles. But that doesn't mean that we need to make that bubble exist within our bubble, if that makes sense. All the evil and negativity that happens out there in the world, yes, I can shut it out because that's their bubble. It's not mine. And that's really the ultimate stage of awareness, is realizing your bubble is your bubble. However, there's outside influences that affect our bubble, and sometimes our bubble is bobbling along in a stream, in like a stream or a creek, and then it gets pushed into a different stream or a different creek, or something gets smashed into our bubble and meshes with it. I say this as in, for an easier example, we'll go with a personal experience. I have a friend who accomplishes a lot. They have the time and the money to do so, and the tenacity and selfishness to do what they want. I have a different lifestyle, and I needed one of those pep talks. And one of the greatest moments that they see in that. Sorry if you're listening and watching, this is a combobulation of words. I'm so sorry. I don't edit the videos, so bear with me here. I've been trying to there's a lot of energy and downloads and things happening today. So just trying to start a video with outgoing 10 minutes of processing emotions has been a struggle today. Okay. So, okay. Stepping on stage for a figure competition. That was on purpose. I did that. Any type of certification or education that I've done, I did that on purpose, right? Any type of job promotion that I've done on accident. I step into the job that I was hired for and I overachieve, and they're like, well, here's a new title. You're overachieving. Here's a new title. It happens in pretty much every single job. One thing that got me all choked up was someone mentioned how I took in a lot of teenagers that needed to be taken in. See, I'm getting choked up because one of those teenagers is no longer with us, and they've all moved on in their lives. I'm not sure how much good I did, but that was what they saw as one of my greatest achievements. I didn't ask to take in 5 teenagers that were not house trained, for lack of better words. Great hearts. They're teenagers. I didn't ask for that. I didn't plan for that. And in fact, it ruined me financially in a sense. But I took them in knowing the risk. And I knew that it was worth it because that's what you do. And in this person's eyes, that was one of my greatest accomplishments. But it was accidental. I live in a small town, and different parts of the town know me from different areas of life. And one of those areas of life was a hobby called slacklining. I didn't really seek out slacklining. I had owned a slackline for 5 years with only ever being able to take 2 steps on it. 5 years. And then through a series of events, God placed world-class athletes in slacklining, business owners, innovators, the best of the best in my path. And I found myself learning from the best of the best. And that was accidental. I didn't seek it out. It completely fell in my lap. And that's where the passion was that led me to an awakening of what it really means to awaken to your soul and to the purpose and truth of everything. And that was accidental. So as this channel does start to kind of gear towards midlife and finding your purpose, because that's what I know and that's what I understand, and I see a lot of people could use some help on that, even if they just to know that you're not alone. We all know midlife crisis exists, but we can stop calling it a crisis. We can call it an awareness, midlife awakening, midlife transformation, midlife rebirth, because what we're doing is we have completed a full cycle of all the different categories and energies, and now, we always I wish I had a redo of life. If I knew what I knew now as a kid, I would do life differently. Well, guess what? That's what midlife actually is. But we have been trained and programmed that it's not that, and that it's the opposite of that. And so we give up and we fail and we say, oh, that's just how it is. But it's not how it is. Now is not the time to roll over and die. Now is the time to take the culmination of all that wisdom and all those experiences that you've had in your lifetime and dig down deep and find a way to look at what your goal is and then 10 times that goal. And usually by the time you're looking at 10 timesing that goal, that whatever you thought your goal was and that 1x is completely irrelevant. In some of my recent videos, I've mentioned the power of asking why 5 times in any category. Ask why 5 times and you'll get to the root of why you're actually asking why, or why you're doing the thing that you're doing. And that's the same thing with the goal setting. 10 times your goal, and you'll start to look at your goals differently. You'll start to notice maybe your goals aren't even really what you're actually trying to achieve, but you're just looking at the stepping stones, because that's what we're taught. We're taught we need stepping stones. And so we work linear and we work up. Instead, look at what the goal is and work backwards. And so we say that we're doing these processes and we're following these processes to reach an inner alignment and to find our purpose and to better navigate our future. And we say we're doing these and following these things. However, in the end, these things are just aligning our focus, and while at the same time, hopefully, we're allowing openness within the vessel that we are to allow space of miracles to happen, because it's those unknown miracles, those unplanned and unseen events that are going to be the catalyst for the change in your world. 1111, as I was saying that. It's allowing space for those unseen and unplanned events to come in, and to know that you're aligned enough to trust it and to go with it. And when you've made those decisions, that you're aligned and that you are clear in your choices and your decisions, life takes a whole new path. And it's not an easy path. It's, if you're watching these videos, you're done with easy paths. There's nothing easy about this going forward, except finding out how easy it is. It's easy, but not simple, right? Like these are theories and processes that take 5 seconds to learn, but a lifetime to master. And that's why we're showing up here every day, because just having these pep talks every day and just keeping yourself on track every day of expansion, of, oh, there's a word on the tip of my tongue, of, I said expansion, but something else wanted to come through, not necessarily receiving, but just allowing. It's still not the word, either way. Taking the time to align on a daily basis and remind yourself of your purpose, reminding yourself of what it is you're living for. That helps you get through to the next day. It helps you feel aligned in your purpose. It helps you know what your purpose is. It helps you keep trying and paying attention and hoping that you will find a purpose so you don't feel miserable every day. If you find yourself comparing yourself to others, then there's deeper things at play. Ask why. Use that comparison, use that envy, use that jealousy to guide your own soul. Thank you for watching. This is Awaken with Deb. I am Deborah Kaye. Have a blessed day.